Okay, if we start off the next part, if you hit spacebar, you'll go to the perspective view. You can see that it's quite flat right now, especially if you look at it from the side view. We're going to go into vertex mode and we're going to start moving these points now. So we're going to come out of quad draw, hit right click, hit vertex, select points, and we're going to move them from the middle line, for instance, to the if you just move the points so they are kind of following the edge of the face on the side view. So if you select points, you might want to do this point by point, or you can do it by selecting multiple points at a time. But we've started this with the inner edge, and we're going to move these right to the follow the curvature of the face from the side view. So you can see that it's still quite rough right now, and we're just gonna quickly block this in. So you have to use a bit of your imagination, a bit of your creativity in terms of where the point should be. The first one that we just did, that was easier to put in, just because we're using the edge of the image that's there to replicate that. The eye is going to be we should be slightly inside because of the fact that we won't be able to see the inner part of that. So we're just going to move this portion around, so this one's sitting there. So I'm going to select this, just move that a bit around, and deselect one of the points, move this a bit more so we get that curvature right. Again, work with it for now and see how you might have to adjust things later on. So try to get it as best or closest to what I'm doing, and then you might have to move things around if they're not looking exactly the same way. The thing with this method is when you're imitating, you could never be as precise with each of these points, so take your time. I'm going to move this forward so you can see that this kind of lines up with the edge of the corner of the eye on this side. Now I'll select this part of the nose, so I want it roughly in the just there. So we're kind of we started off from the middle of the face itself, and we're kind of coming in, so make sure you're trying to get the curvature right. So so I'm just going to grab this point here. So just finish the eye off, so I'll try to get the edge of the face. So this one's going to be slightly inside. So although we've got our side and view, you can see that they're not fully lined up, so we'll just have to use a bit of our imagination there. Just move these points, get the edge right just there. Just move that a little bit back. Just there we go. It's getting there. It's not completely like for like, but we can see where the edges are. So just click this, move. Maybe want to adjust that a bit more. You take more time doing this. I'm doing it fairly quickly just to get the topology into the places. I'm just going to move these around just now. It's a lot of tweaking, a lot of moving. This method gives you control, but it's a lot about movement, moving points around. That's why we were making sure that when we initially created the first portion of the topology, we didn't want to be in the situation where we had loads of points to adjust. This is still doable. So if you went and put extra detail around the lips or something, then you would have been a lot more trouble. So I can select control and select multiple of these edges and move them around at the same point. So you can drag, select points, and then move them into roughly where the position should be, and then adjust them accordingly. If you do them in the order that I'm doing them in, so working towards the center, from the center line to the outside of the face, it just gives you a bit more control, and you can see what you're doing, where the points are going to be, the topology is going to be. Okay, just carry on doing that. So I'm going to drag all these at the same time. So I'm going to deselect the top corner, move this one back, deselect, and there we go. In order to deselect, just hit Control and you should be able to deselect a point each time. in the vertices. Okay, so if you hit control, it would be minus to just deselect, just to make sure now. Again, just carry on repeating that. I can just select individual for the lips points, duplicate multiple of these, just deselect one of them. You can see they can start seeing the curvature of the mouth. Still really rough yet, but you can see how I'm starting to begin to create the topology in the right place. I mean, it's just that after this I might be using the edge loop tool, I might be extruding faces, I'll be repeating a lot of the commands that I'm doing, but it gives me a starting point. So you can see the nostril there, it's not perfect just there, there's a lot of, I need to add a lot of detail in order to get that right, but I've started to get things in the right place just there. So just move things around, adjust them accordingly, and we should be getting the face that we want. Okay, so I'm going to do more adjustments. Like I said, through this process you're going to be doing these adjustments, but now if I zoom in and out, you'll be able to see that I've got the topology roughly, the basic amount of topology in the right place. So this is a good basic way to get the topology right. I mean, like I said, it's not the most efficient way of doing things, but when you're learning it, it might be it's a good way to pick up this method. So you can see now I've got my basic topology. So if I go back into I can create an instance out of this. So if I, just like we did previously, so if I hit duplicate special and minus in the x-axis, now I have my model and I can adjust accordingly. You could always go into the hyper shader and put the transparency back low or up, and just to see how it looks with the topology itself. So if you want to see it without that, so now I'm just gonna we'll carry on the next part, the next video.